So the Utica Mission, it extends a little bit into Vermont and then just shy of the Pennsylvania border, and Palmyra is, I'm going to say, about 20 minutes outside mission boundaries. So at the end of your mission, you're going to get to go there for a temple session. President and Sister Wortham will take you. And, let's see, it tends to be a lot of smaller villages. That's what they call the really tiny towns there. It's actually kind of cute. If you end up going to a college town, like I was in Ithaca for my first area, then you're going to probably run into a lot of Chinese speakers. Mandarin speakers, that's the word. Anyway, yeah, there's not really a whole lot of diversity in the mission language. You're probably going to be going into a lot of trailer parks. There are a lot of cats, so if you're allergic, bring allergy medicine. You will need it. Like, take at least a month's supply. There's a lot of poverty. It's really interesting. There's the rich people and there's the poor people. There is no in between. There's the trailer parks and then there's the mansions. And unless you're serving in the student ward, you're not going to see anything else. Okay, as far as food goes, every area is different. I have one area where the ward members absolutely adored us and we ended up having lunch and dinner most days. And there are other areas where the ward just doesn't trust the missionaries as much, so you don't get fed nearly as often. But the best thing that you can do if you have an allergy of any kind is let them know really quick, because no one wants to have the missionaries over and be like, I made this delicious food, and you don't want to be that missionary that's sitting there like, I'll have salad. I can't have anything else. That's not what you want to do. So ASAP, like if you end up doing an introduction in the ward at any point, feel free to be like, oh, and by the way, I have an allergy. It's not a big deal, but I really don't want to get sick. And the members tend to be very understanding of that. So in New York, as far as the culture goes, people tend to be a lot friendlier than you'd think they were, especially upstate. I don't know anything about the city, but upstate, they tend to be very friendly. They tend to be pretty kind. Sometimes you'll meet some weird ducks. But yeah, the one thing that you really need to learn to do, though, is figure out how to edge your way into a conversation and then interrupt without being super rude. Because New Yorkers, to a T, really, really like to talk. They just like to go on, and sometimes they don't really have a point to their talking. They just like to hear themselves going off. So learning to interrupt politely is a really good thing to learn how to do. And one last thing about New York culture is the people there are always super nice, or at least I don't get offended very easily, so I think they're super nice. They could be being sarcastic, I wouldn't have noticed. But you will occasionally come across someone that's just a little odd, and sometimes it's someone that's really, really anti-Mormon, and the best advice I can give there is contention drives away the spirit. Just kind of sit there. I'm sorry you feel that way, but you know what? Jesus loves you. Have a nice day. And get out of there as fast as you can. If your companion wants to argue with them, drag them along with you. I don't care if you're a junior companion, just leave. It's not worth having the spirit driven away. Also, sometimes you'll meet people with very odd religious views. It's not even that they have a denomination of any sort. It's just that they have some really, really interesting views. Again, be polite. If they're open to learning about the gospel, feel free to talk to them about it, because everyone can benefit from the light of Christ. But be prepared to walk away with the feeling of, that was the weirdest conversation I've ever had in my life. I'm not sure if I want to repeat that. And don't be afraid to just drop them. It's horrible that I have to say that, but sometimes you really do need to just drop someone that's only keeping around to argue or to philosophize. If they're actually interested in learning about the gospel of Christ, great. If you can help them in any way, serve them in any way, even better. But sometimes they're just not prepared, and it's time to write about them. Make sure that they're documented and then move on. They'll be ready in a few years.